How's it going?
Everything is awesome, man. All we do is talk shit and swallow spit every night, man. That's all we doing here, man.
We talking shit tonight?
Oh, we talk. Oh shit, yeah, we talking shit, and we gonna get there. We a long ways away from there, but you know where the interview is headed, man. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's cool to have you in here, and I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you so much for sure.
I appreciate being invited on the show and being able here to talk tonight. I like to practice on everything, so not only boxing, but I like to practice on my communication skills and things like that. I got one question, so I can see. Do I make the screen bigger some kind of way? Or no, it's just like this.
You could turn your phone. If you turn your phone, it'll make it big. Is that better for you? It only goes two ways. Yeah, so that's.
I'll leave it like this. Then that's cool. Okay. I guess. Yeah. Oh, you can a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't got to see that at the bottom stuff. Okay, we live 10:30, 10:31, 10:30.
Oh yeah, we live. We
check.
So boxing, man. How'd you get into boxing, man? I found out through the producer, Patty, you were a police officer. I didn't know you were a police officer.
Yeah, let's keep that on the low.
Oh, okay. My bad. But how'd you get into boxing? How did you walk into Crunk's gym?
Actually, I don't really remember. My uncle was Emanuel Steward.
Yep.
So I guess it wasn't too hard for me to find the gym. I remember being a young boy and going over to his house. He's got two daughters, Sylvia and Savette, and I got a sister. So we would always go over there and visit them. We're all the same age. We're on the same age. So going over there visiting them, it's just all girls, not only boys. So my aunt would ask me, "You want to go to the gym with your uncle?" Yeah, naturally, I want to hang out with the fellas. So I knew he trained fighters, a lot of boys and stuff. So I ain't gonna say I'm rough, but I like being around my cousins, but I like being around boys doing, boy stuff, men stuff too, as far as, like with my father and my uncle. So yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to do was be with the men.
Sure. Who was the first fighter, do you recall, Emanuel Steward had in the gym that you like, man, I seen him on TV?
No, I can't even tell you that because I was down there. I was maybe about like 3-4 years old, maybe something like that. So I don't know who was in. I mean, I know who was there, at that time, but not just a particular face. One of the fighters that I'm very, very close with is Milton McCory. He had a brother named Stevie McCory who was the '84 gold medalist.
Yep.
So he was like the youngest out of all those guys. Most of them were like 10 years older than me, at least. So I'm 4 years old, maybe they're like, 14, and I think Stevie might have been about 12, maybe 9 or 12. I don't know. But yeah, so that's who I hung out with because I thought he was my age, but he really wasn't. He was like a little grown man.
Wow. Yeah, growing up as a kid, man, I remember your uncle with the little afro and Crunk Gym every which way. So it's I know for my era, I'm 43, Crunk Gym, and obviously for older eras, it holds a pristine image as it pertains to like the boxing, like boxing. How important was Crunk Gym to the community?
Well, Crunk Gym to the city of Detroit was, and I almost want to put it in a sarcastic, tone and say that, it was always Detroit's winning team was the Crunk boxing team. So, I mean, I hate to say it, but the Lions don't do too well sometimes.
Y'all went back to back in '89 and '90, though.
That's the Pistons.
Yeah.
The Pistons won 89 and 90. And then later on, I think in 2004 or 3 or 4.
Beat the Lakers. Yeah,
of course, so.
I'm from LA. I'm a diehard Kobe fan, man. Yeah. Shaq and Kobe was running on like 2 cylinders. Then they had enough of each other by then.
Come on now. Well, we took out Magic Johnson and them too with the Pistons.
Yeah, true that.
What cylinders they running on? They run on electric before electric was even popular and running like that. They run now.
But then they came back though and beat it when Isaiah Thomas had the bad ankle.
Yeah, but we swept them. Matter of fact.
Yeah.
We had the broom out running up, and I was down Grand River watching everybody come out with the brooms running through the street. We swept the Great Lakers. Yeah.
Facts. And you know who was in here too a couple of weeks ago? J-Rock. You have J-Rock now.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
already announced it. He already announced it.
yeah,
So I see you being like, should I tell it? Should I tell it? But yeah, he said that you guys are working together, and I saw the posts on Instagram and stuff like that. So
yeah, I saw the post too. I wasn't aware of it, but I saw it, so it was cool. I mean, it wasn't a big secret, but it was just like we just was working, so we wasn't trying to make no big announcements, some kind of grand, making some kind of big ballroom event or anything like that. Just we start working together, getting to know each other, learning some, just basically learning each other. A lot of us do with learning each other. So yeah, I've been working with Julian J. Rock Williams for a little bit, and he was supposed to fight with January 20th, I believe it was.
Yeah, January 26th or something like that, or no, December 26th. This past card, but he caught COVID. Yeah, that's what it was.
So the other day was going to be January 20th, but with all this, the coronavirus, COVID, and everything, so it just kind of messed. No, I don't want to say messed up things, but it just kind of delayed things. So I'm okay with it. He's okay with it. He was a little bit bummed out at first, but after talking to him and him, just being more mature, he's understanding, and he just gives us more time to work in jail.
What are some things that you see like quite possible he can add to his game?
Well, through us getting to know each other, I didn't remember that he fought one of my guys in the amateur tournament in the U.S. Championships in Colorado. So he was always a good fighter. I always watched him. He actually came out and smoked my guy in the first round, but then the next two rounds, my guy Dominic Dalton, came back and won the fight. So it was just by him coming out in that first round and remembering it was him, by him reminding me, I was like, oh, so yeah, I remember you now. Yeah, you was right. Like I always, watched out for you, but after a while, moving up with my guys, they turn them pro and stuff. I kind of, didn't keep up with much of the amateur guys because I didn't have anybody, in those divisions or in those tournaments. They all started turning professional. So it was like a little small gap. But I watched him remember his name in the professionals, still not knowing that he fought my guy. But J Rock, yeah, he's, for me, I want to say he's a complete fighter. He knows how to fight. He's been around boxing, for a long time, and coming from Philly, Philly can rock and roll over there.
Yeah,
so
they go hard.
That was one of the biggest. You got these rivals, and Philly was one of them. Philly fighters. They got that reputation. So he's been around, and from what I know and from watching him and working with him, a very talented fighter, and we're just working to get some things together to make him more complete as he was when he was an amateur. What I've learned over the years, a lot of fighters going from amateur to pro, they slow down a whole lot, and they maybe pick up bad habits, turning professional, versus when they were amateurs, they were sharp, they fought a lot, and they just get older, and I believe they fall into this mind frame that, fight a slower pace, do this different, do that because I'm pro. I never trained any of my fighters like an amateur. I always train them like professionals because that's what they eventually want to get into. So why would I train like an amateur when the amateur style and judging and the point system changed so much? I never dealt with that. And that was one of the things that Emanuel taught me. Just don't train your fighters like an amateur because it's always going to change. They may lose to somebody in amateurs, but turn around and when they turn professional, they'll end up winning because they'll be more developed and fundamentally sound than these guys trying to change for this amateur judging systems.
Sure. And you mentioned Emanuel Steward, man. Let's talk about like the teachings of Emanuel Steward, his tone, his delivery, the teachings. If you don't mind, just take us through like Emanuel Steward from A to Z in a couple minutes, if you don't mind.
From A to Z?
If you could capsulate it,
From A to Z, he's like, come on, Lennox, he's a dead man walking. Get him out of here. He's too dangerous. There's a dead man walking. One punch could change everything.
Right.
And that's him from A to Z. I mean, he was very emotional in a fight. And one of the things that I've learned was when you're working close with somebody like that in this type of a sport, this combative sport, I totally believe you got to have a relationship with that person. You have to know what makes them laugh, cry, smile, get mad, just different things like that. And you would have to be a motivator to motivate these guys in these tough battles. They have to believe in themselves, but they got to believe in you too. So with the relationship that you and the fighter, or me and the fighter, were, having these bonds. Those are the things that you have to be able to trust in these kind of fights, to be able to say, hey, whatever he said, let's do it. I believe in him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Emanuel. Emanuel always treated people fair. As you know, I was a police officer, so I had a different mentality at some point in my life too, from having to work the streets and deal with all kinds of people. So I kind of had that attitude in certain places where I shouldn't, maybe. And the things that Emanuel taught me was treat everybody the way you want to be treated.
Sure.
And if you have to make a tough decision, make the decision as if you was that person, and the decision was happened to be made on you. How would you want it to be handled?
Sure.
And those are some of the things that that stick with me now and that I carry, and that I try to pass on and teach to young kids, young adults, and maybe even you.
Okay, let's go there. I'm definitely gonna rewatch this video because I always notice that, because I always chop up the videos and stuff like that and put it in small segments. I'd be like, damn, I missed that. How did I miss that? I should have followed up on that point. I missed it. So there's definitely a lot of stuff that I will miss, but I will intake it the second time around. Now, Emanuel Steward consistently goes viral, especially when like Tyson Fury has a fight or Deontay Wilder has a fight, because he actually predicted that and you've seen the clip, obviously, that these two Deontay Wilder will be the heavyweight champion of the world. Tyson Fury will be a heavyweight champion of the world. These guys will be the top two. And how did that come to play with you in your head, knowing that it actually came to fruition and you was actually in the ring actually with Tyson Fury?
I had a lot of joy, a lot of emotions, and yeah, I mean, it was one of those great feelings. For me, that was the biggest fight that I've been involved in on that kind of a stage.
Sure.
Been in championship fights, but being at the heavyweight, the tip top, and a lot, what I thought about, one of the things I thought about, I said, if Emanuel was alive now, this is where he would be at right now. He would be sitting right here in this ring on this big stage, this heavyweight fight that everybody's watching, because the heavyweight division is the granddaddy of the divisions in boxing. There's nothing bigger and better than the heavyweight division, especially like right now when it's at its best. Where you have these, you have fighters that are competitive at the same era, in boxing. And the heavyweight division has changed totally so much, because most of the fighters now, the fighters, the heavyweights, these guys are 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", all up to 6'9", 200, all up to 270 pounds. And it's just such an exciting division, because one punch can change everything. So yeah, I mean, I just think about it. I say, some of the things that he, like you said, he knew certain things before they happened. And to me, it's amazing, because there's other things that he's predicted and said that happened before as well. Remembering back to my first championship fight after Emanuel passed away, I trained Donna Stevenson, and I was able to take Donna Stevenson and fulfill, another one of Emanuel's, what they call a prophecy, or one of the things that he believed in Donna Stevenson. So for me, being able to continue the legacy of Emanuel, it means a lot to me. Because to me, Emanuel was like a father to me. That's who I lived with for most of my life.
Right.
And one of the reasons why I ended up changing my name, was to honor him. And that was something that he always told me to do. Me being, hard-headed or whatever, or just slow, like, I went on ahead and did it, So, yeah, the things that he said, it's still things that maybe, I mean, you don't know, because he didn't do interviews on everything that he would say, but yeah, those things are still coming true. Right. Amazingly. I don't know how he did it, but yeah, he was an amazing person to be able to reach and touch people like that in that kind of a manner, and to feel, I guess, to feel their greatness, to feel what they can do and their abilities. And that was one of the things that made him such a great trainer, was because he could understand the fighter, and maybe they didn't believe in themselves as much, but after he gets done talking to you, then you start believing in yourself. because he's telling you. So you look at Tyson Fury, you look at Deontay Wilder, the things he said about those guys. I mean, even Deontay even said, he said, Emanuel Steward told me. Emanuel Steward told him. He told them this before he even did the interviews and things like that. But he told certain fighters certain things that they really believed in and made them become different people altogether. So that's another, way how he was such a big part of the community in Detroit. With a lot of the fighters from Detroit, those guys were able to make it out of their neighborhoods or to become champions because of him, because he believed in them, because he saw something in them that they may not have saw in themselves or believed in.